flying on a wing and a prayer tonight.
It's been a day.
It has been.
Bummer of a day. I was supposed to get a new button maker today.
Yes, you were.
And they told me that there was an operational... What did it say? It said... If I could figure out how to work my phone.
Well, you're old.
An operational delay with the carrier. So, like, I don't know if the truck broke down or what. But instead of it being, like, a day later than it should be, like, they send another truck to pick up the stuff and carry on my wayward son, it's going to be, like, an extra week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Did you have to pay for shipping?
Yeah.
Yeah, then they should have to give you shipping.
I
back.
know.
That's crazy. Well...
I may not have had to pay for shipping because I may have still had my Prime trial thingy.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
So, I may not have had to pay for shipping, but still, it's still really obnoxious.
That is.
And an extra week seems...
ridiculous.
Yeah. It seems like a bit much.
It does. I agree. That's too much.
So, I've been playing with Shrinky Dinks instead.
Well, you do what you have to do in these difficult times.
I know.
Yep. Well...
Now we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, we'll see. I had to put in I needed a new SD card because we filled up another one, but every time I tried to use it, it told me to insert an SD card, and I was like, but I did. So, we're recording directly to the computer and hoping there's enough space for it, so I guess we'll see.
Talk really fast.
Right. This story is actually not as long as last week's story. I think this one was like 5 pages or something, and the one last week was like 12.
Yeah.
So.
Because I'm a failure and didn't get my story done in time.
That's it. That's the one.
So.
I had to find something real quick.
Because I don't know. Like, I started to do my story, and then there was stuff that I hadn't looked at before that I felt like I needed to look at. And it was like not really in English.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really hard to read, and there was a lot of it, and I was just like, this is going to take me more than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
To try to get through this. And so I was like, and I have nothing else, like, in my mind right now, and so.
Well, it's funny because I was listening to some podcasts about my case last night, and there were a fair few of them that were in French, and I was like, can't listen to these.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things before we get started.
Okay.
One of them is a shout out to a listener. They didn't tell me whether I could say their name or not. I didn't ask though either. So we'll just say a listener named Leon, who sent us a story about their connection to the yogurt shop murders, which was not like they weren't there that night, but they were in the vicinity, and they almost went to the yogurt shop that night and like heard the sirens responding to the fire. And so that was like a crazy connection to that. So thanks for reaching out and telling us that. That was not cool, but I guess cool.
But, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. There's the better word. Another thing is a fun story. It's not really fun.
You can't say fun about death.
It's not death.
Oh.
But I don't even know how I found this story. But the headline of this article is 11-year-old arrested after violent crime spree in New Mexico.
Okay.
And so apparently this boy has ties to multiple, I said not deaths. I don't actually know if there's deaths. But it says multiple shootings and burglaries. But why I thought it was funny was it says the child was involved in stealing a Kia Forte earlier last month before he began participating in more destructive crimes. He was purportedly also associated with a group of kids who threw rocks at homes the following week to break into them. He hit a woman, I guess, with a rock when he was doing this. It prompted a 12-year-old girl to call 911, and the girl told police that the group of boys was known as the Kia Boys with a Z.
Oh.
So, that's why I thought it was funny, because
Yes.
they're the Kia Boys.
Kia Boys. He just wanted to do hood rat things with his friends.
Yeah. So, that was from June of last year.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, the other thing is not so fun. It's not the story, but it was something that showed up on my Facebook earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked into it a little more. So just quickly, there is a woman that's been missing from the Taos area for the last couple of weeks, I guess. She's from the little town like south of Taos called, I know, my bed's so squeaky, called Ranchos de Taos. That's like 4 miles south of Taos. Her name is Melissa Casillas. She's 53. She works for the Los Alamos National Laboratory. She's been missing since the afternoon of June 26th. What I read today was that she had gone to work that morning, but realized that, like, when she got there, that she had forgotten her, like, badge key card thing that would let her, like, access the building. And Los Alamos is, like, an hour away. And so she just decided to go home and work from home that day. I would say probably because that's a long frickin' drive to make twice. She took lunch to her daughter at the John Dunn House Shops, which is like an outdoor shopping mall thing at the Taos Plaza. Mm-hmm. She left the area around 1 p.m. They know this because she was captured on CCTV footage. When her daughter arrived home that evening, she found that her mom wasn't there, but her phone, purse, wallet, and car keys were all there. There was an article in People magazine or on the website that someone reported that they saw her walking southbound alone along State Road 518 from Talpa, which is like in the same area. And this was confirmed by Ring doorbell cameras along that road.
Yeah.
I saw a post on Facebook claiming that her personal and work phones had been reset, but there was a comment on that post from her stepdaughter that said that only Melissa's personal phone had been reset to factory settings, but they don't know why. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, she worked for Los Alamos, so her work phone wouldn't have been erased. Like, it would be too hard. It has too much security on it.
Yeah.
But that her personal phone had been reset. They don't know why. Another weird aspect is that the stepdaughter stated that Melissa and her husband Mark rode together to work because he also works at the National Lab, and that when she left, she didn't tell him that she was leaving work to go home. Mm-hmm. And in an update from July 1st on the stepdaughter's Facebook, but it also, I think she had like reposted it from another post that the husband Mark and Melissa's daughter Sierra was tagged in.
Yeah.
Says that a tip came in that at about 2:20 p.m. a witness reported seeing a dark blue newer model 4-door Dodge truck leaving the area shortly after the witness saw Melissa walking. So according to the missing poster, and this missing poster was made by the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls group. But according to their poster, she's a 43-year-old Hispanic woman.
I thought we said 53.
53, sorry. I was reading that she's 5'4", and I said 54.
Oh, okay.
So she's 53. She's 5'4", weighs between 115 and 125 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing blue jeans, a turquoise t-shirt, a maroon jacket, and gray and white tennis shoes. The poster says pink and white, but the post from the family's page that was on that update says gray and white. So, either. She has a dragon tattoo on her right ankle, a dream catcher on her left shoulder, and a bow and arrow on her left arm. She's considered to be a missing endangered person. So if you have any information on her disappearance or whereabouts, you can contact the New Mexico State Police at 505-425-6771. So,
well,
that sucks.
Let's hope it doesn't end up terribly, but...
Yep. There also, I guess, somebody set up a GoFundMe page saying that it was to raise money for a reward, but
Yeah.
her daughter posted, like, being really upset about it, saying that it wasn't run by the family and,
Yeah.
like, don't contribute to that, so don't contribute to that. We'll post the missing poster on our social media so everybody can see that. But anyway, you ready to hear another terrible story?
I guess so. Why not?
Okay. So, here's what I did for ideas for today's story,
Okay.
which is probably not a good idea. So, you know how my birthday is on Friday?
Yeah.
And you know how the date is July 11th?
Yeah.
So, I went online and I Googled serial killers born on July 11th.
All right.
I found two. One of them was from Michigan, like operating in like the 70s and 80s or something. I couldn't find a ton of information on that one, even though like it claims that he's as prolific as Ted Bundy or maybe more. I still couldn't find very much information on him, so I didn't go with that one.
That's weird.
I know. So, onward and upward. On February 28th, 1998, a man named Glenn Bennett called the police to report a crime. He claimed that he had witnessed two murders. He gave the police the address of a small basement apartment in a town called Moncton in New Brunswick, Canada.
Okay.
He said that's where the murder took place. He also gave them information on where they could find the murderer. So when police arrived at this apartment, they discovered something so horrific and traumatic that a special team of counselors had to be brought in to help the first responders on the case.
Yikes.
I know. So they found a woman dead on a bedroom floor with her throat cut and her nightgown pushed up around her head. And you can cover your ears if you need to on this one. They found a little girl hanging in a closet in another bedroom wearing only her underwear. So, the woman was 48-year-old Joan Hicks and her 11-year-old daughter Nina. Joan and Nina had recently moved to Moncton from Newfoundland. Newfoundland, thank you. I don't know why my brain wasn't, like, it glitched. Which was, like, 1,100 kilometers or, like, 700 miles if you're us.
You're us losers.
So
we don't know how to work the metric system.
She made this move to be close to Dorchester Penitentiary.
Okay.
Why, you might ask?
I mean, who wants to be closer to a prison?
Right? Well, she apparently had a friend who she wrote to regularly that was, I assume, incarcerated in this prison. And the friend told her that there were a lot of guys in that prison who were lonely and would like to have letters written to them. So she started corresponding regularly.
So she wanted to save on postage?
Just put them all in one envelope and send them on. I don't know.
Well, I just mean, like, she wanted to be closer, so the postage was cheaper.
Well, okay. Well, I'll get there. So she started corresponding regularly with a man named Aubrey Sparks, who happened to be serving a life sentence for killing his wife.
Well, that's the kind of guy I want to be close to.
So Joan soon fell in love with this man and wanted to be close enough to visit him regularly.
Yeah, because he murdered his wife.
Yeah.
So that makes me want to have romantic attachments to him.
I don't understand the psychology behind women and maybe men. I don't know, because you don't hear about it as often as you do with women. But, like, the psychology behind people, like, falling in love with murderers in prison. Mm-hmm. But it happens so often. So, I don't know. Her family tried to talk her out of going. They went so far as to ask the RCMP, the mounted police, to tell her that it was a bad idea. But she insisted on going. Joan's oldest daughter, who was already grown up at the time, tried to get her to stay, and Nina, the little girl, also seemed to not want to go. And this part is so sad. According to the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, before they moved, Nina gave her aunt a picture of herself and told her, if anything happens to me, put this picture up so people will be able to find me and bring me home.
Yeah, that's pitiful.
I know. She probably was like, my mom's in love with a prisoner. So
my mother is making terrible choices.
Yeah. So when Joan and Nina arrived in Moncton, they first lived in a homeless shelter. And so listen, I am not victim blaming, but this is just a PSA. If you are going to move anywhere, especially with your child, and you are moving of your own free will, and not because you are in danger or some other desperate situation, please secure a place to live before you move. Mm-hmm. Or have the means to live in a hotel, or have a friend to stay with, or something, while you're looking for a place to live.
Yeah.
So, anyway, while living in the shelter, Joan made friends with a woman named Tammy McLean and her boyfriend, Michael Wayne McGrey. And I don't know how long Joan and Nina stayed at the shelter, but they eventually moved into that little basement apartment. And Tammy and Michael were regular visitors. They would hang out and party or whatever. So going back to February 28th, Tammy went over to Joan's apartment to talk about her relationship with McGrey. She claimed that he had been drinking and doing a lot of drugs lately, and she was getting scared of him. And that same night, McGrey happened to be hanging out with our witness, Glenn Bennett, the one who called the police. And Glenn told police that he and McGrey had been drinking and mainlining cocaine all day. So I had to look up mainlining. Mm-hmm. Because, if you recall, I learned nothing in DARE.
Yes.
So, it's injecting a drug. Mm-hmm. And I know that people do that with heroin. I didn't know you did that with cocaine, because isn't cocaine the one that you sniff?
Yes, you sniff.
You sniff it.
It's the one you sniff.
Yeah. So, anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. We sit on my bed to record this, and it's being extra squeaky today. I don't know what's going on. We will try to keep our fidgeting to a minimum. But anyway, these guys were high as kites. So Glenn also told the police that evening, McGrey told him he wanted to go find someone to kill. Well, just regular Saturday night activities.
Regular things you feel like doing in the evening.
It's a Saturday night. What do we do? So Glenn was like, okay, yeah, whatever, and walked around with McGrey. And I guess at this point, he said that he wasn't entirely sure that McGrey was serious. And so they, literally were just walking the streets looking for somebody that just seemed like an easy target. Looking for a person that they
felt like killing.
Yeah. They didn't find anybody. And so McGrey was like, hey, I know a place. And they go to Joan's apartment. Mm-hmm. And they find Tammy there. And McGrey tells Tammy to scram. And that he's going to hang out and party with Joan and Nina. Nina was 11.
Nina doesn't want to party with you guys.
No, Nina wants to go home to her aunt.
She wants to be safe.
Yeah. So, Glenn claims that after Tammy left, McGrey flew into a frenzy, grabbed Joan by the throat, slammed her into the wall, and choked her until she passed out. Then he
Good guy.
He's the best. Then he started beating her before cutting her throat with a serrated bread knife. And now our old friend Glenn claims that he was just paralyzed in horror and could do nothing more than watch. So while McGrey does confess to the murder of Joan, he refuses, he's still alive, to confess to the murder of Nina. And claims that Glenn murdered Nina. And Glenn's like, nuh-uh, McGrey did it. But whichever dirtbag was responsible, she was strangled with a belt on her bed and then hung by a rope in her closet.
Cute.
Yeah. So, 2 hours later is when Glenn calls the police. And remember, he told them where to find McGrey. Mm-hmm. So, he was found and arrested and immediately confessed to Joan's murder. They didn't have to even, try. They just confessed. All right.
No coercion necessary.
Yeah, no. So, some background on this disgusting human. Michael Wayne McGrey was born on July 11th, 1965, in Collingwood, Ontario. The family moved to Argyll, Nova Scotia when he was a child, and this is where he grew up. And by his own account, Michael claims that his father was a raging alcoholic who beat him often. Michael McGrey is one of those killers that just likes to talk and talk and talk and talk and tell you all of the things in the whole world. So, Michael was an angry child, and he was constantly getting into fights at school. And he was eventually sent to St. Brutus's Secure Center for Incurably Criminal Boys.
Yes.
It was actually called Shelburne School for Boys, but it's basically the same thing.
Yes.
Michael claims that he was repeatedly sexually abused during his time at the school. And so, can you guess what happens next in the life of Michael McGrey?
I don't really want to.
Well,
I'm sure it's not great.
it's not. He starts torturing and killing animals.
Yeah.
So cover your ears for a minute if you need to. He started with killing birds and then ducks. He would kill the ducks with his bare hands until one duck fought back and hurt him. And so then he stole a knife from school and started using that.
Groovy.
Yeah. I don't know when he was sent to St. Brutus's, but there is a podcast called Dark Poutine, which was great, by the way. And they claim that the animal murder was when he was like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael claims that the thrill of killing the animals was starting to wear off. And so he decided he wanted to give killing people a go. You know?
Yeah, you know.
So, I don't really know where we are age-wise here. Mm-hmm. But Michael claims that his first murder occurred in 1985 when he was 19. So, October 6, 1985, a hunter and his dog were walking along a logging road in a wooded area near Weymouth, Nova Scotia. And unfortunately, they did not find any gold.
No.
Or a $100 billing on the ground.
No.
What they did find were the skeletal remains of Elizabeth Gale Tucker, who was a 17-year-old who had been missing since, like, end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah.
And it didn't appear that there had been any attempt to hide her. Her clothes were in a pile nearby. She was identified via dental records, and it was determined that she had been stabbed to death. Gale, which is what she went by, had gotten a job at a fish processing plant on the west coast of Nova Scotia. And this was about 250 kilometers, or again for the United Statesmen, 155 miles from her home in Dartmouth. I don't know why a 17-year-old is going 150 miles away to work. But anyway.
Who knows?
So her friend Bonnie had taken all of her luggage ahead to this place. And Gail left her mom's house on April 24th to hitchhike to Matagan, maybe is how you pronounce that.
Maybe. Where
her new job was. So, according to Dark Poutine, which I got a lot of my information from this podcast, and especially about the early life of McGrey and this information about Gail. So her mom was not super crazy about the idea of her hitchhiking so far and offered to buy her a bus ticket. But the bank was closed because it was like 5 o'clock and Gail had ants in her pants, which seems to be a running theme on our podcast. And she didn't want to wait until the next day, and so she left.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there were not debit cards in 1985.
Right.
But I don't know why her mom couldn't have written a check to the bus company, because you could still write checks in 1985.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless she was, like, just out of checks. Because I don't know. That didn't make any sense to me. But that's what appears to have happened. So, police were able to track Gail by talking to drivers who came forward to say that they had given her rides. And the last place she was seen was in the town of Weymouth, which is, like, just, like, 19 miles from where she was going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, she was just right there.
Mm-hmm.
Several suspects were identified and ruled out, and the case seemed to go cold until 1998, when Michael McGrey was arrested for Jones and Nina's murders, and he confessed to killing Gail in 1985. So I listened to another podcast that was put on by the CBC. It was about another crime, but, like, it included him because I guess he's suspected of being the killer in that other crime.
Okay.
But it's like a multi-part podcast, and so I just listened to the episode that was just strictly about this.
Like, not to give the guy any credit or anything, but he seems like he would confess if he were.
Well, the problem is that he confessed to these, but then he, like, tells them that he's killed a bunch of other people, and they need to meet his terms and conditions before he confesses to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's not given the rest of them up. So, I'm pretty sure he confessed the murder of Gail to a reporter at the CBC.
Mm-hmm.
He was being interviewed after his arrest, and he had claimed to have killed more people than Nina and Joan.
Right.
And the journalist was basically like, I don't know why we should believe you. Like, other killers have said that they've killed lots of people, and there's no way to prove it,
mm-hmm.
you know? And so he tells her about the murder of Gail Tucker. He claims that he was driving around with a friend. Now, the friend has never been named or identified,
mm-hmm.
and even his defense attorney later does not believe that the story of the friend is true.
Right.
He doesn't even think that the friend existed. But he claims he was driving around with a friend when he saw Gail hitchhiking in April of 1985 near Weymouth. He picked her up. Then he requested that she perform oral sex as payment for the ride. She ooh-noed him.
Yeah.
And he got angry, drove out to, like, the wooded area where she was found, tore off her clothes, raped her, and then stabbed her to death.
Stand up guy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for listening to part 1 of the Twisted and Mysterious podcast. Remember, people are gross and don't get murdered.